Hello there. This video will show you how to use Mastery Manager to link performance assessment items to a learning target. I will then show you how to set mastery levels and then rate your students. Lastly, I will show you how to email students their performance on the assessments as well as their mastery levels reached on their learning targets. Once you are logged in to Mastery Manager, you will click on Assessments. Once you click on Assessments, you click on Create Assessment. I am going to leave type and linking the same, and I'm going to type in the name, Chapter 7, Formative Quiz, Predicting Products of Reactions. There are no multiple choice questions, and there are 3 skills they need to exhibit during this performance assessment, which is really just a free response quiz. It is not multiple choice. Next, I will select the classes for which this assessment was given to, and then I'm going to click on Save. In the next step, we will link standards to these 3 performance assessment or skills by clicking on Standards. I'm going to click on Standards, Add Standards, to see the standards that I have sent to Don Marzolf to enter. And I can see right here, I have local goals, Chemistry 2 East, grades 9 through 12. I want to see my chapter, targets by chapter. I will click on View Standards. Notice I can click on Collapse All to collapse all the targets that I have in Mastery Manager, and then click on the arrow to expand the ones I want to see. I know one of the first targets that I'm evaluating my students on is number 3. I can classify the reaction by type. They need to do this before they can predict products. Down below, I know that's the first performance skill that I am evaluating them on. So I'm going to click Save. And then I'll choose the next target to which the next skill is linked to, which is I can predict products of a chemical reaction if given the reactants. And that is the second performance item, so I'm going to click Save. Lastly, I included an optional piece for my more advanced students in my differentiated classroom that I can write complete net ionic equations. So I'm going to link that to performance skill number 3, and I will click Save. Now that I have my 3 performance assessment items, I'm going to add weights to them. The reason I add weights, okay, for example, number 1 was classifying by type. I know that there are 8 questions total, so I'm going to say that's 8 points. The same thing is true for number 2, predicting products, performance skill. And number 3, the optional one, I'm just going to put 1 here. Okay, here's one place you can enter the cut score. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. My cut score is going to be that they get, actually I'm going to choose my cut scores in another location that I prefer. So we're going to skip that part for now, sorry. So, but I'm going to write in here what these are. Classify by type, so I know later, or my colleagues know what we were doing. And then the second performance skill was predict products. So I'm just going to write predict products. And then the last optional one, I'm going to write optional, was net, complete, and net ionic. That's right, complete and net ionic. Okay, so now what this has done, it's basically said 8 points, but I know there's 8 questions in the formative quiz for each one of these. So now that I finished that, I am going to hit Save. You can see up here, you can evenly distribute points and assign points for a whole group of questions as well. Now I'm going to click on back to Standards. And I'm going to click on Cut Scores because this is where I'm going to set my mastery levels under Cut Scores. So you might want to think of that as this is where I'm cutting them off for meeting the learning targets. To exceed, I determined that they needed to get 7 out of 8 questions correct, which when you calculate that, 7 out of 8 is 87.5%. To meet the learning targets, I decided the students need to get 6 correct out of 8, which is equivalent to 75%. And I want then 75% of my students to meet mastery. Before I get to does not meet, I'm going to add another level, 3, almost there. They're almost there if they have 5 out of 8, which is 62.5. And then I'm going to add one more level, which is does not meet. And that's if the students only score 4 out of 8, which is the same as 50%. And again, I'm going to click on Save. To make my life easier, so I don't need to input scores for every single student, I'm going to go ahead and go to Input. I'm going to select my course. And for my 3 questions, which are really 3 performance items selected, I'm going to click on Show Maximum Weights. And if you look down below, you see the description, classify by type, predict products, optional, complete, and net ionic. Also, you can see it has shown the maximum weighted score. So if they got 8 out of 8, I leave it that way. If a student got 6 out of 8, I write 6 out of 8. Okay, and I can do the same for each one of the performance assessment items. I choose 8 or the maximum because most of my students will reach that. If your students, on the other hand, do not meet standards often, you might want to set that for the lowest rating. You can also mark zeros or absence here, so they're not included in your statistical analysis. And if I click here, I can enter feedback for the student on that question. And then I am going to click, I'm not going to click process results right now. Oh, actually, I will click on process results. I'm just going to go ahead and switch this boy back to an 8 because I'm not ready to grade them. Processing the results is important, so it saves this maximum score. So once again, I'll just go in for the particular students as I hold their quiz in my lap or in my hand, and I will change those ratings accordingly, or the number that they got correct, which doesn't take me too long. Next, I'm going to show you then how to email students their results. But to do that, I'm going to click on a different assessment. I've already emailed them the results, but I'm going to do this again. I'm going to click on my assessments here. And an earlier assessment I did was this one down here. To send students an email, I'm going to click on Chemical Reactions Form 1, and then I'm going to click on Edit. Once I click on Edit, I am then going to click on Status. To me, you can think of status as how did they do? What is their status? Here, I can click who I want to email. I can check all, so I can email all my students, which makes life easier for me. Or say a student says they didn't get the email or they deleted the email, I can uncheck all, and then I can only check the student that I chose to email. So I'm going to select Julene. I'm going to scroll down, and then I can include to send the email to the student or the parents in their Aspen email. I know it's important to check, include students that have already received an email for this assessment, even though they have not. I notice that box needs to be checked in order for them to receive it. Here now I can send just the score or the standards or both, so I want all of them. And I can send the student or students a message. So I'm going to tell Julene, hi Julene, I'm going to say this is just a demonstration. You already received this. Miss S. And I'm going to hit send email. And so next I will show you, after I exit out of the video, what the student report looks like. Thank you very much.